I want to welcome you to the first of our 4-part webinar series on Excella Environmental Health. For those of you who don't know much about us, we're a leading provider of civic solutions. We're committed to working with government to help streamline regulatory processes, foster transparency, and encourage online customer service. We deliver advanced solutions in such realms as environmental health, as you'll see today, land, licensing, citizen relationship and asset management, and more. We believe that engagement through technology can make a big difference, and our civic platform provides a foundation to help build that bridge between agencies and citizens. So today I'm joined here by Jason Wortham. He's a Senior Solutions Manager at Excella and knows a great deal about environmental health processes and needs. For the first part of this series, we're going to show you how an advanced web-based portal can streamline and support the work of your back office staff, as well as provide improved customer service and citizen response. All right, so I want to pass the reins over to Jason.
Great, thank you very much, Kelly. So as Kelly mentioned, my name is Jason Wortham, Senior Solutions Manager with Excella, and today we're going to focus on the Excella Citizen Access web portal. This is the 24/7, 365 conduit with which the general public, business owners, and the like are able to conduct business, research, and other activities with your agency. In this case, I have the environment generically branded for a fictitious county called Metropolis. The Excella Citizen Access portal is actually everything that's inside of this white box in the center of the screen here. It's designed such that it can be embedded inside of your agency's existing web portal, or if you wanted to, you could create it as its own standalone site, as I've done here, with its own banner, background, and footer pages. The Environmental Health Portal, as mentioned a moment ago, can cater to those that are members of what we call the general public or anonymous users. So if they want to conduct research, looking up particular permitted entities, establishments, maybe submit complaints without having to register for an account or look at recalls, or as you saw here, as soon as I access the page, we can publish announcements or alerts to the general public on a wide range of topics. In this case, I have one set up to notify folks about the Zika virus. We do support accessibility for 508 compliance, so it can adapt to screen readers. We also do support multilingual. We have 7 different language packs that are included out of the box with automatically converted standard language, and the system is internationalized, which means if you wanted to support any additional language above those 7 out of the box, we absolutely can do that, and we have text settings inside the system that allow you to support that translation. If a user does want to conduct business anonymously, let's say they want to search for the Westin Hotel and see the restaurant that's within it and see what the most recent inspection result was. So I can type in Westin in the global search field in the top right-hand corner and get back everything that has to do with the Westin Hotel in the county of Metropolis. And we can see that there's one here at 900 University. There is the Westin Bistro, which is the restaurant that exists within the hotel. I can open that up to see information about that restaurant, and you, the agency, can dictate how much information is made available to the general public. We can show a map that indicates where in the county that particular property is located. We can show information such as owner or applicant details, and we can also make information available such as any files or photos that have been taken by inspectors in the field, or of course the ability to see inspection results. In this case, they had an annual fire inspection that was conducted a little bit earlier this year, and it was rejected. I can view the details of that rejected inspection, and you may limit what they can and can't see. Perhaps they can or cannot see the specific model food health code checklist items, the comments from the inspector or the photos, but they can see that the inspection was rejected on a specific date and time for a full-service restaurant, and that there's a follow-up inspection that's currently been scheduled. If they wanted to come in and look up recall information, they're able to do that. You can set up and maintain a number of different recall categories. We can consume this recall information real time from any third-party source. I know there are a number that publish this data from the federal level in a web service, and we can consume that. Let's just do a blanket search, and I can see that there's a couple of published recalls. In this case, one for food excluding meat, poultry, and eggs, and one for meat, poultry, and eggs. and I can see when it was posted. We can also link these to specific businesses or notify specific businesses that maybe utilize the category that these recalls are related to, and I can tie them to their permits or facility registrations. We also have the system set up in this particular environment to allow citizens without a registered account to be able to submit a complaint. So if I wanted to come in and submit a complaint, I have a general disclaimer here. I can click Continue Application, and I can select the category of complaint that I want to submit. Let's say I'm not sure which category I'm interested in. There's a tab here, and you have complete control of these categories and what information is made available within those categories. But let's say I know that I got sick on some food. I got ill. So I can type in ill, and it will return back everything with ILL. It's illegal dumping, illegal occupancy, and in this case, a foodborne illness. I can click Continue, and it'll take me to the intake form that allows me to provide just a general subject. We do have spell check built into the online portal, as well as the back office and mobile applications. I can continue this particular complaint. I can indicate the address of the restaurant where I had that at. I can also click Use Map to select property. So I can open up a map view, zooming in and selecting the particular address, property, what have you, or I can type in that address, even a partial version of that address, and I can click Search, and it will return back any applicable addresses that meet that search criteria. We can integrate to third-party addressing services, such as Esri, Intergraph, even Melissa Data and the U.S. Postal Service if needed. Once I've added my address information, I can click Continue once more, and it provides me the ability to indicate additional information, such as additional details about, what's happened, ate at the restaurant last night, 14th. Do I want to receive updates as progress is made on this complaint? Because I'm logged in as an anonymous user, so I'm not logged in, I have to provide my complaint information if I want to do that. So I can say Add New, or I can look up from a contact library. You certainly can disable that to these types of complaints. I can say Add New, and I can provide my contact information. I'll close that, and I'll say no. I'll just follow it online. Click Continue Service Request, and it offers me the ability to attach any photos, videos, audio files, or whatever file format your agency chooses to accept. We can even make these required if needed. I'll not attach a photo on this particular submission, but we will on our restaurant application, which we'll do in a moment. Just like any other online process, Amazon or similar, you have the opportunity to see the information you've provided and jump back and make any updates or edits to that before you submit this complaint. I'll click Continue. It'll submit that complaint and assign it a complaint ID number. So now I can track the progress of this particular complaint by coming to Complaints and clicking Search for this case number. I can click into that case number, and it'll open up that complaint record, again showing me the location details and the information that was provided by the applicant. In the back office Excel Civic platform, appropriate agency staff will receive a notification on their dashboard that a new complaint has been received. We can assign these complaints out to specific staff and personnel based off of geographic location within your agency's boundaries. We can also restrict people from submitting complaints that are outside of your city or county's boundaries. So if I selected or attempted to provide a property or a location that was not within our jurisdiction, the system can notify the user, thus preventing erroneous complaints from being submitted. We do also have the ability to automatically identify duplicate complaints. So if multiple attendees, or excuse me, multiple guests at that restaurant also reported foodborne illness, we can identify those as potential duplicates or automatically nest those duplicates underneath the original complaint. That way, each of the citizens still submits their own complaint and gets the updates automatically from the system as progress has been made. But in the back office, the agency only has to work with or deal with that single complaint case that was submitted and the ultimate enforcement or violation case that was worked off of it. If I do want to maybe open up a new business, register a new facility, or conduct transactional business, other than submitting complaints with the agency, I can register for an account. Registering for an account is a very straightforward process. We can, of course, ask specific information. You dictate what data is collected on your agency's registration form. I have to provide a username and an email address, a password and a confirmation of that password, and you can dictate the appropriate strength requirements. Does it need to have alphanumeric? Does it need to have a minimum or maximum number of characters? We can support security question and answer if they forget their password. The system can send them a replacement or temporary password, and the next time they log in, the system will automatically require them to reset that. Excella does also support SMS alerts in addition to email notifications. So if a registered user would like to receive text message alerts, when they check that box, they'll be required to provide their mobile phone number. They can then provide their appropriate address or business or organizational information and then enter in a CAPTCHA code. This makes sure that it's not a bot or a computer that's creating this account, it's an actual human being. Once they register or submit their registration form, we can do a couple things. Assuming they've provided all the minimum information, we can automatically approve their account and allow them to begin processing business or submitting applications. We can also send them an automated email. In the body of that email will be a hyperlink that they must click in order to activate their account, so it's an extra level of security. We could also set it up such that anybody that registers for an account must be manually approved by agency staff. So if you want to be very restrictive in who can and cannot access the functionality that's available for a registered user, you can actually actively review and approve each account registration. I'll go ahead and log in as a user that has a valid account. And upon logging in, I'm immediately presented with my user dashboard. So this is similar, and you'll see this in a subsequent video in this video series. For back office staff, they get a dashboard that shows them all the things that require their immediate attention and the ability to see saved work. In this case, we offer that same level of capability to your customers. So Dwayne Patterson, who I just logged in as, has his dashboard set up such as this. So he can see anything that requires his attention in the next 30 days. In this case, I have a tattoo establishment that has an inspection coming up on the 16th. We can, of course, choose to publish that inspections are coming up in the future or not. That is certainly an option that is available to your agency. But in this case, I have an inspection coming up on this particular body art establishment, and I can view the details of that inspection. I can also see that one of my full-service restaurant permits is eligible for renewal. It expires on March 31st. So I can begin and execute that renewal process right from my dashboard. Any other elements, outstanding invoices, resubmission of information for applications, etc., can all be made visible here on the user's dashboard, assuming it requires action on their part. I can see here a shopping cart showing me any outstanding invoices that require my payment. I have a farm labor contractor that works on one of my agricultural facilities. I've registered on his behalf, and I need to pay his registration fee. I can simply click View Cart or come up here to the cart in the top menu and check out. We also have the ability for your applicants to manage projects, and projects allow those folks to group their permits, their facilities, maybe even complaints and enforcement cases into logical groups. So if I am Yum Brands Food and I have a lot of Taco Bells and Pizza Huts, KFCs all around your agency, or maybe I manage multiple hotel chains. I have a couple of different Starwood hotels, a Westin and a Sheraton, and within each of those hotels, I have multiple permits for things like septic and restaurant and lodging. I can create logical groups for those. So instead of coming to the permits section of my dashboard and seeing all of my permits in one sort of generic list, I can say view my projects, and I can drill into my dairy that I maintain. And I can see that I have an agricultural facility registered with the county for Royal Crest Dairy, and then I have 2 program permits, one for consolidated animal feeding and one for milk production. And I can see my CAFO and grade A milk production permits here. This CAFO is a new permit, it has some fees that are outstanding, and it's not currently active and issued, but I can see my facility is operational. I can come back out to my dashboard and continue conducting and reviewing my information. From a work in progress standpoint, if I started any permit applications or complaints or registering a facility and I didn't complete those, This would show those and allow me to resume those applications at a later date and time. Let's go ahead and apply for a new permit, in this case registering a new full-service restaurant. I'll click on Permits, and I can see, again, my list of all of the permits that I have. I use Dwayne Patterson a lot for demonstration, so he's pretty busy from an environmental health standpoint here in the County of Metropolis. From his permits list, you can see the statuses of those permits, any available actions, if they're renewable, able to have fees paid on them, or if they're eligible for amendments. Maybe I need to update ownership information, et cetera. I would have that action available to me here. I can come up and click Apply for a Permit. Before I start that application, I do want to show another option that we can make available to your citizens, and that's the ability to obtain a fee estimate. So if I'm interested in opening a restaurant, but I don't want to start the application process, I'm just doing a little bit of discovery, I can obtain a fee estimate and fill out the minimally required information for a food health permit, but it's not going to start or submit that application. It's just going to say, hey, based off of the type of establishment you're opening, the size, the number of employees and square footage, et cetera, this is how much your fee would be as a one-time application and on an annual recurring basis. So it's a nice way for businesses, very business-friendly approach to online services. So we'll resume the apply for permit process. Similar to that complaint, there's a disclaimer that's going to be shown. We can provide information that says, hey, you're about to start this type of application, you're going to need to provide this information. So it can set expectations for those applicants. I'll click Continue Application. And again, similar to the complaint submission, we've logically categorized the types of permits that our agency offers. So if I wanted to submit an application for a temporary event or farmer's market, if I wanted to register a hazmat program, body art, or in this case, a food establishment for a full-service restaurant, I can do that. Each of these applications can collect their own unique information, attachments, documentation, contacts, individuals, address information, so on and so forth, as we'll see with the full-service restaurant. Once I click Continue, that takes me into our page flow. You may have noticed this for the complaint, and I'm going to point it out here on the permit. What we've done is we've taken what would otherwise be a very lengthy, long, single-page application, maybe an editable PDF or otherwise, and we've logically chunked it out into the applicable segments. So the location and people, the establishment details, attached digital documents, review, and pay fees. We always like, as a best practice, to ask for the property and the people involved with this establishment, because that could dictate a number of things. If I select a property that maybe is not appropriately zoned, I'll put in 1200 Cornell, if it's not appropriately zoned for this type of food health program, the system could immediately pop up a notification telling me that. Say I selected a residential location for an agricultural permit application or a body art establishment, and that's not permitted. The system could stop that right here and prevent this application from even proceeding further or being submitted to the agency. So again, helping to prevent a lot of erroneous applications. This address appears to work fine, so I'll click Continue. Similarly, attaching specific people, like applicants, managers, and certified food handlers, if I attach a person, i.e. a manager, that has open conditions with the agency, and by that I mean locks, holds, notices, restrictions, perhaps this person has a long history of violations, and as such, there's a moratorium on them being an active manager or an active certified food handler on any new food registrations moving forward, we can again stop the application based off of those agency-defined conditions. In this case, I'll select for my account, because again, I'm logged in, so it's going to say, hey, great, Dwayne, we see you already have an account information set up when you register. We also require a mailing address for anyone categorized as the applicant. It knows that I already have a mailing address on file and has auto-checked that for me so that I can just click Continue. I can see my contact information on screen here, so if I wanted to update my phone number or my email address, I can click Edit, change that in a pop-up window, and then take me right back to this application. So it doesn't require me to have to exit the application. I'm going to look up my certified or my manager, and my manager is Sean Fatui. So I can search because I know he is already in the system because I've worked with him in the past. So I can select Sean Fatui. Maybe I have a new certified food handler that's new to working in the county. Well, again, I can put in their information, and I can indicate what their role and rights are on this particular food health program permit. So can they have full access? Maybe I give them access, custom access, and they're allowed to make payments and upload digital documents, but they can't renew or amend my permit, and they can't view or manage inspections that take place. I'll exit this form, though, and I'm just going to go ahead and look up John, who I know, actually David, who I know is my certified food handler. Excellent. So now I can continue. We can manage in the system the registration and renewal of those certified food handlers so that we can validate if they are an actual valid certified food handler within the agency. Establishment name, Jason Stubbs. Again, spell check in the online portal. We'll click continue. Some specific establishment details. Where do I want my invoices sent to? What is the seating capacity of my establishment? Notice on some of these fields, we have what we call tooltips. You can set up context-sensitive help. So this clarifies what seating capacity is. We'll say I have a seating capacity of 25, it's a small sub-shop. Some of these fields are required, indicated with this red asterisk, and this indication that that red asterisk does tell you that that field is required. So I have 10 employees, total square footage for the establishment. Again, a tooltip clarifying what that means, and an indicator that this should be in square feet. This is a number field, so if I try to type text as I'm hitting text keys on my keyboard, it will not let me. It's going to say, hey, what is the square footage of your establishment? Business license ID. We can integrate to your existing business licensing system to validate that that is a legitimate business license within your agency. Of course, if you're using the Excella Civic platform to already manage your business licenses, that validation can be automatic between our respective modules. This is an example of a dynamic field. So it asks if my establishment operates seasonally. If I say yes, then it will dynamically ask me for specific fields that are based on seasonal dates, in this case, open and close dates. If I said no, it would remove those fields. That is an example of being able to really make this application dynamic, meaning we can ask only the questions we absolutely need to ask, the minimally required information, and only show additional fields based on the applicant's response to those questions. So think of it like a TurboTax, what it has done for federal and state tax returns. It's simplified what is an otherwise very cumbersome or complex application or document, and it's simplified that. And I'm only going to ask you a question when you give me a reason to ask for additional information. So it makes that application process very streamlined for your citizens. I'll click continue. Again, I can upload documents. In this case, there is a minimally required document, a food safety certificate. I'll click add. It will allow me to look up the file from my computer. There's my food safety cert. I will select that. It will give me a progress indicator that uploaded very quickly. I'll click continue. And I have to tell it that it's the food safety certification. That's what allows us to know that that PDF file that they uploaded is the food safety certificate by them telling me that, and that that will meet this food safety certificate requirement. I can add a text type description, and any description fields in the online portal can be expanded so that the citizen can see more information. I'll save that uploaded file. It'll give me a confirmation that it successfully uploaded it, and I'll click continue. Just like on the complaint, I get the opportunity to review all the information I've provided, and I can edit that. On this particular application, I do have a disclaimer. So like you probably have at the end of your permit applications in paper or PDF form, I have to certify that. I have to sign that. Well, this is a digital signature. It's going to capture the date and the timestamp and my logged in user information, and I'll click continue application. The system is going to assess the applicable fees based off of the information I've provided and the type of registration or permit registration I'm doing. In this case, our fee is $255. We can assess multiple fees, and as I mentioned a second ago, those fees can be based off of data that they provided in their application. So they can be dynamic. If you charge a square footage fee or a number of employee fee, we can assess that accordingly. I'll click checkout. I can see I have that other fee in my shopping cart. I can add that to what I'm paying now. I can click continue shopping and go register for some additional permits, submit some additional complaints, or register some additional facilities. And when I'm ready, I can go ahead and check out. Checking out will take us to the payment screen. We can integrate with whatever the third-party merchant service provider is that your agency uses. So if your utility billing system already uses Elevon or some other payment adapter, we can integrate to that. The Accela Civic platform does also include an out-of-the-box payment adapter, so we can incorporate that as well. I will put in my credit card information. If you only accept certain types of credit cards, that would be restricted here as well. Autofill with my contact information and click Submit Payment. Assuming the payment is processed successfully by the third-party merchant, I will get a confirmation that my application was successfully submitted. Doesn't mean it was approved yet. I can print my receipt online. I can always return back to the online portal and reprint that receipt when needed. I can click onto that permit number. These permit numbers or case numbers can be completely configurable to your agency. In my environment, I have it prefixed with the category or program, in this case food program, the year that the application was initially submitted, and the next number in sequence. So in my demonstration environment, this is the 15th food program permit issued in 2016. I can see the current status is pending. I can see it's got my map view and my summary information down here at the bottom. I can come here and click on processing status. This allows me to see into the workflow review and approval process that the agency has implemented. So I can see it's currently sitting at application intake. That application intake is assigned to Jason Wortham, which is a back office agency staff person, and Jason has this task due to be completed on March 16th. I will point out that this information does not have to be shown. Usually I get some gasps from the audience that are like, whoa, 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 we don't want to show them when we're going to have this done by or who it got assigned to. We can certainly remove that, but for the purpose of transparency and showing you all the things that can be shown, I like to point that out. As we move through, any comments that are placed on this workflow task by Jason Wortham can be seen online if the agency or the user has chosen to expose that information. And when this is approved, it'll turn to a green checkbox and it'll move down to the next steps in the workflow, either concurrently or in a linear fashion, up until the point where my permit is issued. Throughout this process, I could be getting automated emails and notifications that I'm reaching specific milestones, all in an effort to try to eliminate the phone calls and foot traffic that you might get from citizens asking, what's going on with my application, where's my application at, what's taking so long, et cetera. They'll have very clear transparency into that. But everything I'm showing, you have complete control over whether it is displayed or not. We can also show related records, so if this permit is tied to a parent facility related to other permits, the digital files that were uploaded, the inspections that take place on this particular application, payments, the ability to go reprint those fees, all of that is available, including the ability to integrate with social media platforms. So if I wanted to tweet out about this particular permit application, so I have my restaurant Twitter account, and I want to make sure that I'm posting to that Twitter account to all of my loyal fans in the county that they're eagerly anticipating my opening of Jason's Sub Shop, I could post this to my Twitter account, and it's going to say, hey, a new permit for a full-service restaurant at this address has been created and is currently pending review, and it's going to give them this little tiny URL link. Someone that's following me on Twitter can click that link and it will bring them to this application, and they could see, if they're logged out, again, whatever information you've chosen to expose to the general public. So one last thing I'll show is that when I did log in, 2 additional tabs appeared along the top. That's because that's functionality that's made explicitly available to those with a registered account. That is the ability to see all of my facilities that are registered with the county and any enforcement violations that are currently going on against me, any of my facilities, or any of my permits. So I have an active investigation that I'm operating without a license, and one of my properties was cited for substandard property violation. So I can follow those enforcement cases, providing any supplementary documentation and or requesting a follow-up inspection or visit by the enforcement or violation officer, letting them know that I believe I've brought it into compliance. Can they come out and take a look? Otherwise, they may show up automatically with the follow-up inspections that are scheduled by the system. All right. So that wraps up the content that I wanted to cover for today's presentation. I'll turn it back over to Kelly to rattle off a couple of the questions if we can fit some in. I know we're right up against the timeline. If not, as she mentioned, we'll follow up with all the participants with emails answering all those questions.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jason. Great job. I know we are running a little bit late, so I am going to limit some of the questions we've got here. Let's start really quickly. So, Jason, what browsers are supported, and does it work or does it respond well to mobile devices? Does it work very well on mobile devices?
Yeah, absolutely. So this demonstration took place in Safari on a Mac. We support Safari, Firefox, Chrome, Internet Explorer, all the major browsers. And the site is designed responsively. So if I hit this on a mobile phone or on a tablet, the site would automatically adapt to that device. So it's not going to be a cumbersome scrolling experience for those users.
Awesome. And can the average citizen use the portal to submit a complaint or look up inspection records, or do they need to be registered?
Yeah, they definitely can. So we showed when I was logged out of the system the ability to do basic research, either through the global search or through advanced searches within each of these areas of the system. And they were also able to submit a complaint, which we did earlier on in the demonstration, regarding foodborne illness. And again, we can limit that functionality and that data exposure to the general public versus those with the registered account.
Excellent. Okay, last question, and then I'll wrap it up. Is there any way to validate data coming in over the web to make sure that it's not spam or bots going around, even if they fill out the CAPTCHA correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. So we showed the CAPTCHA functionality on the account registration screen. We also have CAPTCHA that can be enabled at the end of every application. So where I have that digital signature element, we can add CAPTCHA to that so that every time someone submits an application, we have to capture a tool, or we have a tool that identifies that they're an actual human being and not some sort of spam application.
All right. Perfect. So, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. We're over our time. But thank you again, everybody, so much. We look forward to seeing you next week when we talk about what happens to these applications and complaints once they reach your back office. So thanks again. Have a great day.